Good thing I checked that. Oops, sorry guys. Move everything around. Oh yes. I write these notes for myself, and then sometimes I forget to do anything about them. So then I write another note. So I have to write a note. Hello, hello, how are you? Got warm in here. Just hang on. I have to take my sweater off. There, how are you? How are things going today? Canadian, fellow Canadian, how are you? I'm going to do an energy check-in with the cards, and then we're going to talk about a bunch of things. But mostly it's going to be all about returning to center and stuff like that. So first I have to share it out because lots of people don't know that I'm live. Yeah. So just hang on. Let me share it because sharing is caring. I have to think about whether if I can minimize or mute that, because I really don't want notifications going off. That'll be annoying. Hello, hello. All right. That's good. Now let's do sharing on this one. So I'm just live on multiple channels here. So just give me a moment while I share out to my followers. Okay. And then we'll check in. We'll check in on things. You know what? We're good. We're good. I shared it. Whoever's meant to come, whoever's meant to be here will be here. Period. That's the way that it goes, right? Whoever's meant to be there will be there. And it'll all be good. Hello, hello. All right. Nice. Phoenix Rising. How are you? All right. So we're going to check in on the collective. We're going to check in on what's going on collectively, energetically right now. Okay. And I'm using my deck, the Etherian Tarot. I do timeless tarot readings on my page pretty much daily. I also channel messages because I'm live on 2 different channels right now. I'm live on 5 different channels. Hang on, I got to pick up some cards. Get over here. Miss any other ones? I don't think so. All right, let's see what we have here. All right. Okay. That one can go with that one and that one. Got some upside down things happening right now. We're going to have to do some clarities on this energy. All right. We've got the 7 of Earth. So all of these cards I painted or like created all the pictures for it. It's my deck. It's not available for purchase yet, but it will be at some point. So anyway, it's an expanded tarot deck because it has the ether element and it also has an additional card called the Cosmic Key. So the first card that came out is the 7 of Earth, and the 7 of Earth in the reverse position. So collectively, there's a lot of impatience. There's maybe frustration with the slow progress. And I think for any of us that are on this awakening journey, those of us who've been awake for a long time, we are probably really feeling that it's taking a long time, right? Like there's a lot of information that's been brought to the surface. There's a lot of things that we're aware of, and yet there's a lot of people who are still completely blind to it all. And we want action. We want stuff to happen. And so there's that delay, that frustration of that slow progress that we're seeing collectively. We've been seeing like poor planning. We've been seeing wasted efforts. Like it's just I have a tickle in my throat. No, that's hot. That's very hot. We'll go with the cold water. Okay, so the Seven of Earth is a reminder that success is not always immediate, right? Slow and steady wins the race. And that is what the energy of the Seven of Earth is. It's a slow, steady progress. And when you do it in a slow, steady way, it gives you the opportunity to really make sure that the foundation is nice and stable before you build upon it. So then it creates more of a legacy. But the progress collectively is slow right now. We are definitely getting that. The Fool also came out in the reverse position. So there is this hesitation, there is this fear of change, overthinking, avoiding risk. There's uncertainty around the path ahead. And this is really seen within society where we really do, there is uncertainty. Everyone is wondering, like, how is the new earth being created? How is it going to unfold before us? You know, and we're on such different wavelengths right now. I mean, you have people who are still fighting over left and right, people who are fighting over white and black, people who are fighting over people who have no clue about anything that's going on. And then you have those of us who know what it is, and we step back from that and we don't invest our energy in it. And that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be detaching from the toxicity, from all of the stuff that's bad that's going on, as much as be aware of it. Right? Be aware of it, start building the structures to replace those structures. If you're not building the structure, then find the people that are building those structures, right? So me, I'm trying to build education, right? I'm building education that will help to support that. Looking at building things like sacred reciprocity. There are sites out there now where people are doing bartering. There are people out there that are, you know, communities where they're building that, you know, you come and you live within that community, and they're smaller communities. And that's kind of what we're supposed to be building ideally, right? That's how we're meant to live, is in these smaller communities. So there is this, like, this hesitation or this delay or this, you know, like, we're just waiting for that, the new earth, for that, the newness to start. We're waiting for the results of, you know, we're waiting to see the ramifications of the information that we've been given. We also have the High Priestess in the inverted position. And when the High Priestess is in the inverted position, there's this disconnection from our soul. And you can see that across society as a whole, that there are a lot of people. And when you get to the point of what was revealed in the files, as an example, when you get to that level, there's a complete disconnect from soul. And so we're seeing that, but there's also, because of the way that we have been taught throughout our lives and the belief systems that we've been given, most of us, and that, I mean, out of the 8 billion people, most people do not have a connection to their intuition, or they're not aware of it. And that's because we've been taught to disregard the body, and, you know, to disregard the soul, and to look at it as the brain is the you know, the big know-it-all, you know, as a way to put it that way. Hi, Denny. Thank you for liking the live. Appreciate you. So we have that disconnection from our intuition. We have suppressed knowledge. We're seeing this within society, huge, right? There's a lot of suppressed knowledge. We're seeing people like, look at David Wilcock, that died recently. We're just going to say died recently. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that individual had, you know, like, there's scientists that are dying recently. All of this stuff is happening, right? And that stuff is to suppress knowledge. And, you know, there's a lot of information and knowledge that has been hidden from us, that's been veiled from us for years. And this is what this is showing with the High Priestess being in the inverted position. There's still hidden truths that are about to be revealed. That's what it's also talking about. It can be that there's confusion, which is done on purpose, because the more confused we are, the less we're going to make decisions, the less sovereign we're going to be, the less cohesive we'll be, right? We won't work together because we're too confused to know what's the next step. What should we be doing? And so this is the energy that the collective is in. Now we have a lot of air that's coming out. We have the 2 of air coming out, and this was in the upright, but that still is not necessarily a positive thing. When the 2 of air is in the upright, it's that indecisiveness, that indecision that's occurring. That there you are seeking mental clarity. For some, there is clarity, but you're still maybe having a hard time deciding. But this is collectively. So collectively, it's very weird right now, right? We're in this like almost in between spot where we don't really know what's coming next. But we are seeing through illusions. We become very aware of what's going on and very wise to the things that we're seeing. And we're starting to understand the level in which we are being effed with, to put it bluntly. How we are being lied to, and the other stuff that's happening. The beauty of the beauty of it is that, or sorry, with it in the upright, there's that we're not maybe getting the proper perspective right. We're weighing our options and going back and forth. And like I said, because they create that confusion, we can go between that clarity, but then that clarity dissolves because more information is flooded at us, or opposing information is given to us, and we're left going, what? Like, things just don't make sense. And that's done on purpose. Hi, Ava. How are you, love? And hi, Dawn. How are you? The next card that came out was the 6 of air. Now, the 6 of air, when it's in the upright, the what's happening is we're going to be moving on. We are moving on from the things that are going on. We're healing. We're starting to get a new perspective. I'm doing fantastic, love. We're starting to get that new perspective. And for many of us, it's because we are starting we are starting on our spiritual journey. We are awakening to the realities of life, or we're awakening to the fact that we've suffered trauma and need to do healing. So I talk about, I can give a brief little thing. So I'm Tanya. I also go by Sharia and Lorian, and that's my soul name, Sharia and Lorian. I have been a nurse for many, many years, but I retired from that to start my own company. I'm a trauma and nervous system specialist who helps assist people in their awakening journey by sharing information that reminds you of who and what you are and how you're meant to live. That's the best summary I can give of what I do. I do tarot readings. I do Christic astrology readings, which is really true sidereal with the distortions taken out of it. So true sidereal minus the distortions. And yeah, I do a bunch of things. I have a free group. I have a free group at my website where I share lots of stuff. It's called the Temple of Light. And that's what your body is. All right. So stick around and you can learn some more. I lost my card. It's 6. Wow. That's interesting. We had all air. All the cards the rest of the cards were air. That's why I got confused, because I'm like, I was looking at the 6 of air and now I'm looking at the 7 of air. Apparently we had both of them. So the 6 of air is, as a collective, we're healing, right? We're healing and we're moving on. Now the 7 of air comes out, and this is the collective energy. This is what's happening in society right now, or the energy that's coming up in society. So there's this element of strategy and hidden motives. And it's really, really important that we use our discernment now. It's huge. And because we're dealing with a lot of illusion, and there's a lot of secrecy, and with all of this stuff going on, it's going to be important for a couple of things to happen for everybody. And that is, you're going to have to learn to regulate your nervous system. And if you don't understand what that means, then stick around, because I talk about all kinds of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when we are not in our rest and digest, or when we're not in a more regulated space within our nervous system, then what we are is in the state of dysregulation, which can be a variety of different things. You could be in fight mode. So you could be, and fight doesn't mean physically fighting. It could be raising your voice. It could be, it could be a variety of things. You could go into flight mode, so you could try to get away from whatever you're experiencing. You could go into freeze, and just freeze in place. You could go into flop, where you lose all tonic control. That usually happens when your system's been so overwhelmed that it's almost like shocking, where you lose the control of your muscles, so the tone. You could go into people-pleasing mode. You could go into the disassociation, right? So that's where you feel like you're out here and you don't really feel your body. So there's many ways that a dysregulated nervous system shows itself. And so this is going to be really, really important, because your nervous system determines the capacity that you can handle. And that's the capacity in your life all the way around, right? It's not just the capacity that, of day-to-day stressors. It's also the capacity of information, right? If your nervous system is very regulated and balanced, then when something comes in that is shocking to your to your knowledge base, because, we've been facing that a lot, what is going to help protect you is going to be able to have those regulation techniques that you can use, so that you can bring yourself back to center. And, and that's something that I love to help people with. I have a whole course, and I'm going to be running it again live. Hi, Jibber. I'm going to be running it again live. I have it available as a video purchase. So if you don't want to attend it live, you don't have to. You can just go to the website and you can just check it out. And it's called Return to Center. It is a 10-day self-paced course that returns you to center. It's simple practices. This is not something that's going into deep trauma work or shadow work or any identity stuff. If you want that, I have that too, but that's not what this is. This is 10 days of 30 minutes maximum that you're going to spend between watching me talk about stuff and teach you stuff, and then doing the practice yourself. And it comes with a bonus. It comes with a PDF that's filled with all kinds of extra practices and integration and reflection tools. It's amazing. So that's available. If you don't want to do the live teaching with me, you can just go get the videos. But if you want to do the live, I'm teaching it starting next Thursday. So we'll be doing it 10 days in a row, starting next Thursday. Simple practices to return you to center. And just, what that means is to return you to yourself, to return you to the present, to return you to the truth, and, to return you to calm. And so that's what the whole program is all about. So I'll be doing, like I said, a live run through of that next week. All right. So the reading is telling us that what the collective energy is. We need to go through this. We need to blitz through what the reading said. Okay. So we started with the 7 of Earth, and this was saying that collective energy is very slow progress. And this can be frustrating for us, especially the early people that awoke, or have always been awake, because they've been waiting for this for a long time. And then when you see the information come out, and it's just like, you wonder why that didn't shock everybody awake, and yet it didn't. And you're still waiting. So the progress is very slow, and that can be frustrating. Absolutely. We also had the Fool, which is this, we're waiting for this new beginning, but these were the reversed cards. We're waiting for this new beginning, but there's this delay. It's taking so long. So there's this hesitation. And there are many of us who have a fear of change, because even though we know it's bad, we maybe don't understand fully how bad, or don't understand that bad now and bad 30 years or 10 years or 5 years from now is a totally different thing, right? And we should be able to recognize that, because I think if we went back 7 years ago, right, 2019, if we went back to 2019, oh my God, how different was that? How different was that than 2026, right? The things that we know now that we didn't know then, it's been so shocking. So the biggest thing that you need to do is keep coming back to the nervous system and coming back to regulation. Okay, that's your protection. We also had the high priestess in reverse, which is telling us that society is still dealing with disconnection from their soul. And you see that in the very, very dark things that are being done, that there is a disconnection from our intuition, that there is still suppressed knowledge. And we see that when you think about the scientists who have recently, right, it's to suppress knowledge. And there's other ways that we've seen that, right? Think about way back in the day when with cancer, like you can't even say the C word, and I don't mean the cancer word. You can't say cure in alignment with that without having the entire industry come down upon you and strip everything from you, right? They don't want cures. They do not want free things. They do not want freedom and sovereignty and all of that. That's not their goal. So anything that's being proposed to you, you have to think is going to be taking you in the direction that opposes that, right? So we just have to be very discerning about that and understand that some of the information that you're finding out that is, that you're getting, say, from somebody like me, you might be like, oh, well, she's not a doctor. No, but I was a registered nurse for over 20 years. I worked in the Emerge, and I've done so many things educationally because I love to learn. Like I have a brain that's like a super highway, and I learn all the time. Like other people are sitting at home watching TV or they're going out on the weekend and partying, and they're doing all these things. And I learn in my spare time, and I do creativity in my spare time, and I spend time with nature, and, I don't party. And so like my life's different. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, especially in the last 5 years, because that's what drives me. So you have to start to learn how to discern people and what they're teaching you, and that it's truthful and it's aligned. Because a lot of times it's not aligned, it's not meant for you. And sometimes it's, if you're listening to your body, or if it's keeping you in a cycle, if you have to keep going back and getting a top up, or, or you never fully feel like you're free from the person, think about a doctor. Hi, what do you have wrong with you? We got a pill for that, and you'll be taking it for the rest of your life, and you'll probably get some side effects, and well, then you get another pill. So are they helping you? Are they actually leading you to your sovereignty? And I was saying that at 2222, like, sorry, 4 twos, only 4. but anyway, right? So this is the energy that we're in, is all those suppressed truths. So don't think just because it's a doctor or a scientist or government or like that they have your best interest in heart, or that they're teaching you the truth, right? What should be teaching you the truth is towards your health and towards freedom, towards sovereignty, towards all of those things. So learn how to discern, and discernment means connecting to your body. And it's hard to connect to your body if your mind never shuts up. It's hard to connect to your body if you're always moving, or if you've numbed it out completely. And that's a lot of what we do. We numb out, we avoid, we do all kinds of things, right? So it's important to try to stay connected to your body as much as possible, because your body stays in the present moment, whereas your mind can be in the future and your mind can be in the past. And oftentimes it's running between the two of them, right? It's out there future forecasting, mind reading, assuming, fortune telling, whatever ones you want to use it. They're all cognitive distortions that we all inherited through our traumas. And, we're also looking at the past and all the things that happened to us, or all the woulda, shoulda, couldas. When we're in the moment, when we're connected to our body and we're in the present, then we're connected to our clarity. We're connected to our discernment, our intuition. We can feel things into our body that will tell us the truth. And your body knows before the mind does. So it's important to connect to your body. But like I said, we were taught to just kind of ignore the body. It's just a part of us, right? Like, it kind of depends on the framework that you have, or belief systems, because it could be different. All right. So we had all of that energy. We have that right now collectively. There's this indecisive kind of energy that's there, that we're seeking mental clarity. We're weighing the options, and, maybe there's a little bit of avoidance of truth. If we just pretend that it doesn't exist, we can just, carry on. But you can't, because the truth is it was just so disarming, and there's going to be more. We had that 6 of air, which talks about how society is going to be moving on. We will be healing. There will be new perspectives that are going to be coming in. And that for many of us, this is this very big spiritual journey that we're embarking on. And I talk about it in my content about how it's like a sunrise. There are those of us who have just saw the sun peaking, where there are those of us who are watching the sun set. And so that's just where the knowledge base is, or how long they've been awake and what information they're aware of as the truths. But that spiritual journey is what we're meant to embark on. And so that society as a whole is doing that. And then we have the 7, which is talking about there's still hidden truths. There are still things, hidden motives, to be very, very aware and use your discernment. There's still a lot of secrecy that's going on, and and that secrecy doesn't mean it's negative or bad. It doesn't mean that the hidden motives don't necessarily mean that they're nefarious or evil either. It just means that there's things that are going on behind the scenes that society isn't aware of, and some of those things are good, but also some of those things are bad, and that's not what the reading was talking about. So that's the energy that we got from society using the Etherian tarot cards. And I'm going to just I like to pull a couple from the 44 keys of the way. And then we're going to talk about the body a bit more. Today is embodied wisdom. That's what I teach on Wednesdays. I had to think about the day again. I do plan on moving my meditation. I do a global meditation once a week. I'm going to move it to Thursday night. So that'll be changing. And I might even do that tomorrow and just get it started right off tomorrow. Otherwise, I will skip this Thursday and do it next Thursday, but I think I'll just do it this week. All right. So from the 44 keys of the way, now these are all custom cards. They're all cards that I've created. And these are painted. I painted these, but so this card here is the creative spark. And this isn't about the collective. This is about people that are watching or seeing this now. So there's a creative spark. Your affirmation is creativity flows naturally through me. The remembrance, creativity is expression, not performance. It increases energy when used. Small, sorry, I couldn't the light here. Small outputs keep it active. So it's like going and doing a little like painting for like 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be, this big long hour-long event. Go sing 2 songs, whatever it is that you like to do creatively. So it's saying do some creativity for 10 minutes, no editing, because remember, this is just for fun, for creative expression, not for productivity or performance. And so you're just doing 10 minutes, whatever it is, it's done, and no editing. No editing is done after 10 minutes. I'm going to try that. I'm definitely going to do that. I haven't painted in a while, so it'll be nice. So the other one that I pulled for you guys is the great vision, the greater vision. The affirmation, my life participates in a greater unfolding. The remembrance, individual action contributes to collective patterns. Perspective widens decision-making. Meaning increases with context. So the practice is to define your current project, write its larger impact, and then align one action to that impact. Okay, so those are your more personal messages for today. And maybe at the end, if I have time, I'll do some cards. I have a new deck that I'd like to play with, and it's the Return to Center deck. And that is the one that's based on a lot of my stuff, which is Return to Center. And then when we get into like trauma, deeper trauma and shadow work, that's Return to Self. My mini program, the 10-day program, that's Return to Center. So this deck is also called Return to Center. And that's kind of the stuff that you'll see. I'm going to pull a couple of cards. Okay. And then we'll get into the other stuff that we're going to talk about. Where are you watching from? And say hi. And please tap on the screen, because on TikTok, likes matter, right? And on any one of them, likes matter. All right. Ooh, I like that one. That's a... Oh, we're getting clarity today. Remember, that was interesting because the 2 of... Oh, Okay, we've got three. We've got three. It's perfect. All right. So I'm working on the pictures. I'm doing the pictures for these cards currently in Procreate, and then I'll have to have them all printed and stuff. But I did do the cards. I wrote all the cards out, so I have little. So I have them, and then I'll put the pictures on them afterwards. So the cards that came out from the Return to Center deck is one, from the Clarity is One Step Only. And what it is about is simplifying action. Overwhelm is often created by stacking multiple steps. Reducing to one clear action restores movement and reduces pressure. The embodiment practice is to ask, what is the next smallest step? And do only that. And when I'm talking with people that are experiencing trauma or in their healing process, one of the things that I am always reminding people is that you're doing it one step at a time. It's just like you do everything. If you were to eat an elephant, which I do not suggest you do, please do not eat elephants. But if you were to eat an elephant, you would still eat it one bite at a time. If you were going to drink the ocean, you would grab a cup and you would sip, 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 right? You're not drinking it all in one gulp. You're not eating it all in one bite. Just like you're not going through your trauma all at once. It's not the whole thing experienced in one moment. You are going to experience what you can. It's like a pendulum. You swing into the trauma experience or work through whatever it is, and then you come back out and you stabilize your nervous system, you regulate it, you deal with integrating what you just experienced, and then you swing back in to do more at another time. And you don't have to look at every single thing one by one by one. If we think about every experience that we had, that can be overwhelming to think, oh my God, I have to heal every single thing. But you're not healing every single slight that ever happened to you because they stack together, right? Cute. Sorry, so just do the one thing, just do that one thing, and know that if you're somebody that's about to step into doing your healing journey or you're any phase along it, always remind yourself, which will help with the overwhelm, is just to remind yourself that it's one step at a time, and you don't have to go through it all at once, and you don't have to go through all of it, because there are many times where the wound was abandonment. So you just have to heal the abandonment wound. You don't have to heal every single time that you were abandoned, right? So that's the way that works. Okay, the next card that came out was Clarity as well, and it said you are adding meaning. I've been there. And take a little sip of tea. Well, that cooled down very quickly, unfortunately. All right. So you are interpreting beyond the facts. So this is where, like I said earlier, we're fortune telling, mind reading, we're future casting, we're doing all of these things where we mind read and we think we know, and we fill in the blank and we add a lot of emphasis to everything. So meaning is being layered onto neutral or other events. They're not necessarily neutral. It could be a negative event, but you've escalated it to even higher level of negativity because of the connotations or the emphasis that you've put on it, or filling in the blank with all the assumptions there. 3333 on the timer. So this increases the emotional intensity. That's what you've done because of, it's adding extras to it, or believing you understand why somebody did something. And of course they did it because blah, 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 right? So the embodiment practice for this particular card is to identify what is fact versus what is your interpretation. So I used to say to myself when I was working through this dynamic with myself, what are the facts, ma'am? Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. And that's what you need to be working on. Right? It's just reducing it to, what do I actually know? What is actually happening here? Not my interpretation, not my assumptions, not my mind reading, fortune telling, none of that. What are the facts? And just stick with that. And that will help you to stay a lot clearer. So the third card that came out from the Return to Center deck is from the section Reconnection. And this is Trust Your Timing. You are not late. And I don't know how many people need to know that. Like sometimes you just feel like you're behind, or, you're not as far as you should be in your journey. And you're exactly where you need to be right now. You're exactly where you need to be. If you're seeing patterns showing up in your life, they're there for you to recognize them, to work through them and move beyond them. And if you're seeing them repeatedly, that's because there's something you're not working through or not addressing, right? So with this one here, the pressure to be elsewhere, and that could be, like I said, a status thing, that you should be higher, that you should have more money, that you should be in a different, in a different home, at a different job, with a different person, whatever it is, that pressure to be at that level, or to be in that spot, healed at that level, whatever it is, it creates activation. That's pressure. It puts urgency on you. So your current position is where you work from. You can't work from anywhere else but where you are. So you have to begin here. You have to begin in this moment and move forward from there. So the embodiment practice is to say, I am where I am. And then exhale slowly and become comfortable, or at peace, I guess would be a better way to term it, but to be in that space of peace, to be exactly where you are. So I am where I am, and it's okay. So those are an example of the Return to Center cards, which we will be displaying a bit in the next while. So what I wanted to talk about today is, I lost my notes. It's okay. I do that sometimes. I thought I had it on this page. I have to write down some notes. I used to just do whatever I wanted and, just go off the top of my head. And then people were asking that I have a little more structure sometimes. And so here we are with notes now. And of course, when we're doing the notes, I have to find them. All righty. So we were talking about how the body knows before the mind knows, right? And that the truth is stored in the body, and that's a part of discernment. That's what we were talking about when we were doing the card reading, and about how in society right now, with all the illusions and the hidden truths and everything that's going on, discernment is very, very important. And in order for you to to know yours, you have to be in your body, and you have to learn to trust yourself, right? You can't, you won't get to clarity or get to the point where you're discerning the truth from everything if you're disconnected from your body, because it's felt within your body well before your mind knows, right? And most times when you think you're confused, it's not that you're confused at all. It's just that you received the signal in your body, whatever it was, could have been contraction, could have been like, or something, whatever it was, you had the feeling in your body, and then you didn't trust it. You were like, yeah, I contracted there, or yeah, I felt this, or, like my spidey senses were tingling and telling me this, but you didn't do anything. You go into your mind instead and you start trying to figure it out. And then that's when everything gets distorted. Okay. But your body's not guessing. Okay. That's the thing. It's responding in real time. And your heart is the center, right? Like your heart, it sends out an electro, like a field around you that's picking up things well before your mind ever does. And your heart has a nervous system that runs between your heart and your brain, and the nerves that are going to your brain from your heart are far greater than the number that are coming from your brain to your heart, because your heart's sending way more information to your brain. Your heart is what's sensing it out in the field, and your body's picking it up. Your energetic body, through all the layers, is picking it up. So it's responding in real time. But your brain then picks it up and starts to think about it. And then it starts to analyze it. And then it starts to create a story about it. But your body already knew. Your body registered it right away. It registered, this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel aligned. This just isn't. This doesn't, it's not good. Whatever it's feeling, right? But we override that signal. Now, some of that is tied into childhood, right? Because if you were in a home where you were told to disregard what you were feeling, you had to go and give your uncle a kiss on the cheek, even though you felt the icky in your body and felt really uncomfortable, but you were forced to do it anyway. You were like, nope, you got to go give him. So you learned as a child to disregard those feelings in your body and just push through it, right? Go give your grandma a hug or kiss. And you're like, I don't want to. And your mom's like, just go do it. Don't embarrass me, right? Things like that, where we've been told to just disregard. And so then we no longer pay attention to the signals that we're getting from our body. We think our brain is going to make everything all right. It's going to figure everything out. So what has your body been telling you? What does your body know that your mind is trying to talk you out of? And the other thing that we are lacking is trust, right? We don't trust ourselves. We'll feel something like hesitation or contraction. Like I said, that contraction's a good one, where you just feel you literally feel yourself just tense right up and tighten, right? Or you'll feel like a pull in a certain direction and you're like, what is this feeling that I'm getting? But your mind then says, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I'm overreacting. I need more information, right? Like we're looking for all of that stuff. And just like that, you disconnect from the original signal that said, this isn't safe, this isn't right, this doesn't align, whatever your body was telling you, right? This person doesn't feel safe. This situation doesn't feel safe. And then you override it because your body's like, oh, you're just overreacting. You're just overreacting, right? So this is what we need to work on, right? And working on that is a two-part thing, right? You have to work on your trauma and you have to work on your nervous system regulation. And luckily enough, working on your nervous system is going to help support your trauma and the healing journey and the shadow work and all of that. And it's also going to give you the capacity to hold more information, hold more money, hold more relationships, all of it. It all comes back to your nervous system and how your nervous system is regulated. That tells you the capacity of what you're able to hold. All right. So not every feeling is guidance. Okay. There are certain things that can get confused in this because there's intuition, there's projection, and then there's overwhelm. Okay. So when we're looking at our intuition feels very different from the other things. I like to say how, like, when your higher self is speaking to you, it sounds like a good parent, right? It's firm, it's direct, it's loving, it's not confusing. And oftentimes this going to kick in when it's like that thing that you're not supposed to do. And it's telling you the voice of reason, right? It's that voice of reason that comes in and you're like, and maybe you listen to the ego that tells you to do something else. And that's how I see it, as your higher self versus your ego. And your ego, as I've said numerous times before, your ego is driving the bus, looking at, or driving your vehicle, driving your life, looking through the rear view mirror at the very least, if not just looking directly out the back window. Because your ego is basing all that you're doing on the fact that you have experienced these things before. So all the stories of your life, all the identities that you have, your ego is holding on to them. So if you have an identity that's, and say somebody's called you lazy your whole life, so you have an identity of being lazy. Until you reconcile that identity, as long as you hold that identity, that's going to keep you lazy, or it's going to keep you struggling to be what you're not. Hello. Cool. So intuition is very steady and it doesn't rush you, because intuition knows, it sees, it senses, it feels like it's more grounded in the present moment. It's not out there in fear land or in the past going through what it should is. It's not attached to that identity, right? It's just going to tell you, and it knows. Projection is often emotional and it has a story attached to it. So there's some reason why that's coming out. Now, overwhelm, on the other hand, is very loud. And when you're overwhelmed, that's when it often feels very chaotic and urgent. So if your system is overwhelmed, everything can feel like guidance. And that's why people can get lost. You just have to remember that the intuition is going to be the one that is steady, not rushing you. There's no story. It's not emotional. It doesn't feel urgent or chaotic, and it's not loud. It's like that firm parent that's just directing you. It's that voice of reason. Okay. My weather. That's what that was. A notification. I should have turned the notifications off, but I apologize. So the issue isn't that you're not receiving the information, that you're not receiving your intuition or your discernment's broken or you're not capable. It's just that your system is either overriding it, right? Your brain decides, oh, I know better than what your body just told you so very clearly, or your nervous system's so dysregulated, or it's just dysregulated that you can't interpret things clearly. And like I said, that's because you're either got too much emotion, too much urgency, too many stories that are attached to it, things like that. Okay. So you want to get yourself into a regulated spot before you do any decision making. And when you're looking at things, listen to your body and allow what's coming up in your body to be interpreted as the truth, right? And move from there. And again, go back to that. Your intuition is steady, not urgent, not chaotic, not overwhelming, not projecting, not a whole bunch of emotions attached to it. It's steady, it's present, it's, it's direct, it's focused, you should it's a good energy. All right. I always do a embodiment practice in all of my lives. So we're just going to do one of my favorite things, which is just to rub your thumb against your fingers. This is a great practice to take with you and use it wherever you are. You can hide your fingers so you're not seeing, so no one would see them. It's very subtle. Okay. So we're just rubbing. This is going to bring us back to the moment. We're focusing on the sensation of touch. We're focusing on the feeling of our fingerprints. And we're just feeling it. And now we're going to slow our breath. Okay, so we're going to breathe in through our nose into our stomach and engage our diaphragm. And then we're going to let it out nice and slow and making the exhale longer than the inhale. And now you're going to ask yourself, where am I? And the answer is here. The next question that you're going to ask yourself is, where am I? Okay, we're still rubbing our fingers. Sorry, we asked, where am I? We're going to ask, what time is it? What time is it? And the answer is now. Okay, and we're just going to stay here for a moment, focusing on slowing our breath, the sensation of touch, and knowing that we're in the here and now. Okay. You can take this little technique with you anywhere you go. Okay. Rub your thumb against your fingers, connect to the sensation of touch, slow your breathing, making sure your exhale is longer than your inhale, and then ask those two questions with their answers. What time is it? Now. Where am I? Here. And just keep repeating those two. There's additional ones that you can add, but we won't worry about them right now. So what most people are missing is not that they need more information or anything like that. It's just stability. Because when your body is here in the present moment, when it's clear and it's regulated, you don't have to force the answers. You recognize them because your body's going to be giving you the cues. You're going to know when something feels tight versus something feels expansive. You're going to know when something feels off and when it doesn't. You're going to feel it when your tummy does a little drop, or when you feel a little bit nauseated, or when you feel this pressure on your shoulder or prickly feeling. Whatever it is that you feel within your body, you're going to recognize those as the cues that they really are. That this is not aligned for you, that this is not right, or that there's something that's not quite accurate, that there's a lie here or something. Your discernment's going to get better the more that you connect to your body, and the more that you steady yourself, you still things around you, right? The silence is a beautiful space for you to be able to make sense of things that are going on around you. So think about the last time that you felt confused. Like if you can go back to the very first moment before you thought about it, before you did any questioning, back before that, what did your body say about it? Was your body already telling you, or was it giving you the information that it was not aligned, right? That was your signal. That was the signal. It could have been like, oh, that pressure. It could have been, it's just, right? Like it could have been any one of those things. So if you even felt small, like a small little shift in your body right now, that's the work, right? And doing it once isn't enough. It's the stuff that you do consistently day after day after day. It's the habits that you have that make the life that you live. If you are not willing to change anything, then nothing in your life is going to change. You cannot expect change without changing you, because you are your reality. Right? And your reality is created through you and your choices. So you have to train your system to return to that space consistently, to come back to yourself, to come back to your breath, to come back to this moment, to come back to your body, so that you can feel what's going on in your body. And that's exactly it's exactly why I created Return to Center, which is a 10-day reset to stabilize your nervous system, bring you back into your body, and rebuild trust that you'll actually feel and you'll actually believe, right? You'll start to believe, you'll start to trust what you're feeling. There we go. Well, again, all tongue-tied over that. So if you're tired of second guessing yourself and feeling like you don't know what's real anymore, this gives you a way back. And you can start immediately, or you can do it live with me next week, starting on Thursday. But the choice is yours if you want to do it live or recorded. Right? So it's cool. All right. What are we doing now? What are we doing for the rest of the evening? How are you holding up? You all good? You good? All right. Perfect. All righty. Well, if you want to get a reading, you can head on over to my website, or if you want any information, you have any questions, go check out Anshara'El and check what I have going on there. And I will see you tomorrow night for our global meditation for peace, unity, truth, and love. Peace, unity, truth, and love. So those are what we're sending out, and we're going to use some sacred geometry and do some healing in the same process. So if you want to join me then, 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. Mountain time. So that'd be 9 p.m. Eastern, depending on what time zone you're in. You'll have to change it after that. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain. Return to Center global meditation that is based on truth, love, unity, and peace. And then after that, I'll see you on Sunday. Sunday is at 6 p.m. and Sunday is the celestial briefing. That's where we check in on the living sky and see what energies we're going to be dealing with for the week. I only work with the living sky when I do Christic astrology readings. That's based in true sidereal. So it's based on the living sky at the time of your birth. And I have a contest going on right now. It closes on Friday, so there's a couple of days left to enter it. But find the post on my thing that's talking about the reading. And you just have to like the post, be following me, and say which reading you would like, because I'm giving away a free astrology reading and a free natal chart. So you can get a tarot reading and an astrology reading. So you can get one or the other. You just have to tell me which one you want to be entered in to win. So that's going on right now as well. And that's just giving some people who maybe have been hesitant about thinking about working with me the opportunity to try it out. So that contest is going on. Go check it out. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for our global meditation, and we'll do an energy check-in with the cards. And depending on what ends up happening, maybe we'll get into some free cards tomorrow evening. And then as well, let me know when you would like me to do. And I can also do on-air mini readings. We can set up a day for that. They would be paid mini readings, but I could set that up as well. All right, guys, have a great evening. I'm going to hop off now, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Have a great evening. Love you.